Hello and welcome to the patch notes video for Imperial Civil War 2.3.1. So this version of the mod is available on the Steam Workshop for Steam copies of the game. It is not yet available for disc or GOG versions. We will eventually release a version for that. However, it does require stripping out several things from the mod because they aren't the GOG and the disc version of the game aren't quite as updated as the Steam version by Petroglyph. So there's some things that need to be changed to make it stable enough to release. That's why most mods don't tend to support the non-Steam versions anymore, but we're going to do our best to support it as long as we can. But anyways, we talked a bit about how we are planning to change our release structure following 2.3, where we want to move to slightly more frequent releases, covering more specific scopes, and that way we'll hopefully be able to be a bit more responsive to feedback, as well as have stuff for people to play and test in a much quicker turnaround rate. So, with each of those versions, with each of those patches, I'm going to be doing a video like this, covering the general point of the patches and what's been changed. I'm not going to read every individual change, just give some context on where we're going and why certain changes were made. First off, we have the new unit the VT-49 Decimator, which is for the Arido Authority. It's basically a small corvette similar to the Gozanti and Citadel. That's a unit class, gunship class, which we want to add to as many factions as possible. So eventually every faction will have one. Right now it's just the Corporate Sector Authority with Gozanti and Citadel, and the Arido Authority with the VT-49 Decimator now. Art-wise, we've also updated the ATST and AT-AT, as well as the A6 Juggernaut. You can see pictures of all those, as well as the VT-49 Decimator, which you can see right now. Scrolling by on the right, the Corellian Corvette and the Kara Cruiser are getting some art updates in 2.3.2, so keep an eye out for that. We're also hoping to get a few other models done, and this will be something that we sprinkle into pretty much every patch as we go. In terms of major fixes, we have attempted to fix an issue where the game would sometimes lock up on the Galactic Conquest map, where it sort of seems like the game is paused, but some stuff is still happening and you can't unpause it. It basically is caused by two AI factions trying to auto-resolve against each other in a battle that isn't able to properly be resolved. We think we've tracked down a possible cause for it, and we have tried to fix it. That is included with this patch, but it's not something that we can reliably test on our own because it's such a small sample size, so that's going to be something we try to keep an eye out for as well. Next up, we have changes to the air progression script, where some people would report fairly regular crashes in the script where heroes would not spawn properly, so that's been addressed. It has involved removing some events like the zero command spawning. Anything that would change the affiliation of a planet we've had to remove because that was what the game wasn't liking. So we're going to do our best to find a different way to implement that. We have some ideas for that. But for the meantime, it should be a lot more stable. There's also been some smaller bugs fixed, like Delvardis would spawn twice in eras 2 through 4 if you were starting in those eras, and if you were playing as, for example, the Greater Maldrude, and you took Anameridius, if you took the planet multiple times, you would get multiple copies of the heroes. So that's all been resolved, and as you can see on the screen, there are a bunch of other bugs that were fixed as well. The other main thing that I want to talk a little bit about is ship accuracy. So before the release, one of the things we were working on was using ship accuracy as a way to fit different units into different roles, and it is based on the individual weapons. So each individual weapon on a ship has accuracy values against different types of targets. So any given weapon will have accuracy values against fighter, bomber, corvette, frigate, capital, and super capital. Where on an individual ship, it can vary between ships, but on an individual ship, a single version of a weapon or a lighter version of a weapon is generally more accurate against smaller targets than a weapon with more barrels. So a single turbo is going to be more accurate than an octuple turbo laser. So there's a trade-off there in firepower, and it helps with certain ships being good against different things. It also helps smaller ships like corvettes be a bit more survivable, so something like a DP-20, the Corellian gunship, is going to be a lot more useful. Same with smaller frigates, where they're going to have more of a role. So while there are some things that will still need adjusting for a while, for example, in this patch, we changed the accuracy on the Imperial Star Destroyer and Imperial Star Destroyer 2 because they were a bit too inaccurate. We're going to be keeping an eye on all of that and taking feedback on all of that. The core premise of the changes is to encourage people to have different units in their fleet compositions, and we're going to be focusing more on tactical changes like that to help increase the tactical depth of the mod in both land and space. But that covers about everything for 2.3.1. 2.3.2, we are going to include Grelling Corvette and Carrack updates, like I said. We're going to continue to work on the changes or fixing the bugs for air progression if any come up. We'll keep looking for the lockup on the Galactic Conquest level, and there are a bunch of bugs that were reported in the Discord server, which is linked in the description if you want to join and report bugs there. But yeah, so after 2.3.2, which will be another bug fix oriented one, along with maybe a new unit and a couple redone units, we'll probably start getting into more reworked and new content after that. So keep an eye out for that. We'll have another video when that is ready, and should be about maybe 2 to 3 weeks before 2.3.2 is out. We are, in the meantime, going to have a community match tomorrow. That is Wednesday, July 24th. That is going to be streamed on this channel, so if you'd like to take part in those, I'm hoping to get 3 to 4 every month. So thanks for watching. Hope you're enjoying the mod so far, and I will see you next time. Bye.